Whenever you're ready, Keith.
Good to go? All right, welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting Wednesday, October 20th. We'll do a roll call first.
Member Moberly?
Here?
Member Alicia?
Here.
Member Murphy?
Here.
Member Lee? Here. Member Podliska?
Here.
Chairman Neiman?
Here.
And Vice Chairman Giltner.
Here. So first on the agenda is the approval of minutes from August 18th. Does anyone have any comments or corrections?
Not me.
They look fine.
Oh, all right. Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Are you changing the procedure on us?
Well,
That's
you
not
know,
allowed. That's
we'll
not
see how it
allowed.
goes. All right. The minutes are approved. So we don't have any approval final decisions, receive requests, pleadings. So we're ready to move to the pre-hearing. So this is for V-07-21, 31 Blaine Street. Do you want to just step up to the podium, introduce yourself, and just introduce the variation that you're requesting?
Swearing in. Swearing in.
You guys hear me okay?
No.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. My name's Sean Taylor, and my wife would be here tonight, but she's with our 3 little kiddos, and our 3, 5, and 7 at home, so unable to attend. A little history, I guess, on myself and our property. My wife and I have been in Hinsdale for about 4 to 5 years. We moved from Logan Square, where we were actively involved in the Preservation Board, Logan Square Preservation down there. Also had the opportunity to renovate a house and win an award in 2018 for historic improvement. One of the things that really drew us to this area was just the beauty of it, the historic houses and the investment that's been made to really sustain those. We moved into Blaine Street, which is just around the corner from here. A beautiful little quaint street with all what appear to be all original houses, which is quite unique. I don't know that we have any tear downs on our block, which was beautiful. It's quite charming. Our house it's the Purple House. If you drive by, you'll hear it called the Purple House. It was renovated in 2012 by the prior owners. They did a beautiful job. They gutted most of it. They actually found that there was a covered up door on the side of it, and they extended the original porch back to the building that was there. That had been taken down at some point. They kept all the original fireplaces and redid them. A lot of the stained glass was replaced. So they modernized the home, but also kept a lot of the beautiful historic aspects to it, including a lot of the flooring. So it really kind of touched us and made us want to move in and be the next owners. One of the challenges we've had in the property is in the we think 1950s and 1960s, they did kind of a one-story bump out with a flat roof for a living room. It's believed that there was an intention to put a second floor bedroom up there, some kind of a master suite, and for whatever reason, it never went forward. Prior owners expressed interest in doing it, but they noted some challenges with the designs. We didn't understand a lot of the zoning issues they ran against. Essentially, we're here today to see if we could seek a variance to actually extend the original footprint of that, which would allow us to modernize the house, add another bedroom on the second floor. Currently, there's 3 bedrooms, 1 for each of my children, and my wife and I are in the attic, which is a finished attic. But as you can imagine, it creates some challenges, both with laundry in the basement, as well as a lot of kiddos coming up at the nighttime with, challenges sleeping and such. So it would greatly improve the house for us, and we also think it would make it more valuable to future owners. It would modernize it and maybe potentially protect it against any kind of threat of someday being taken down or not being modernized. So perhaps a long-winded background on the story, but the actual variance request is, I believe, to extend to the original footprint, which is about, I think, roughly around 3 foot. I think we give the details in here, but it's about 3 foot from the northern edge of the property line, where the 1-story building is. We would like to extend there as well, opposed to being restricted to 6 feet back, which would create some challenges in terms of an awkward design. It would also reduce a lot of some of the square footage that we would have. I don't know if there's any other things an individual like me would cover at this point. Does that give a decent summary, or maybe
Yeah,
I'll
I think
open up
that's a
for
good
questions?
summary. We might have some questions.
Sure.
Does anyone have any questions or clarifications?
Well, as I read through your filing, the first concern I had was the neighbor's 27 blade right north of you.
Yes.
So I took a walk over there to see where their house was located, because I was concerned that if you're 3 feet from the lot line and they're 3 feet from the lot line, it's gonna be like that old commercial where if you open up the medicine cabinet, the other guy's, the neighbor's on the other side. But there's a driveway in between.
There is.
And the best I could see of the back of their structure, it's a little hard for me to see that from the sidewalk. It looked like there aren't a whole lot of windows on the second floor of their building where they would be directly opposite the addition that you want to put on. Is that correct? There's like a slanting roof there going up for their second floor after that.
Correct. Both are correct. There is a large driveway and large space between the two properties.
Yeah.
And they have a small bump out that they did at some point for their master bedroom, but there are minimal windows. I think 2 very small windows crack open like portholes or something.
And what do you plan for the windows on your addition facing north?
You know, we haven't 100% pinned down the internal design. We have been open to putting windows there, but there's not a tremendous amount of light that comes in from that
Yeah.
angle, so we're open to also moving that.
Your neighbor on the other side has a second floor at the back, and they've got windows up high on the wall. It must be probably 6.5 feet or so up from the floor of that. So I would think that if you did that, that would take care of any issues about intrusion between neighbors. Have you talked to the neighbors at, north of you? Do you have some input for us as to what their view of it is of this renovation?
Yes, they're very supportive, and they've noted that they'd be willing to sign. We drafted up a letter of their support. I'm actually going camping with them this weekend with their daughters, as well as the adjacent neighbors behind us, so I'm gonna talk with them. But they're supportive of it. I think they recognize that with our growing family, it would likely move us to purchasing a new house, and we really enjoy our neighbors being around. So I also think they're interested in having us stay local with them as well, and would be willing to support that, so.
Yeah, if you can have a letter from them and if any of the other neighbors that want to weigh in, but that one in particular seems to be
Absolutely.
the most affected by the change you want to make.
Absolutely.
Rob, just to be clear, this is, it would be okay to build up, there would be no need for a variance if it wasn't for the fact that it's too close to the lot line, is that correct?
That's correct.
So the only thing we're being asked to do is, I mean, it's not gonna get any closer to the lot line, it's just gonna be taller, and because the structure's being altered, you need a new agreement regarding the setback distance.
Correct. In
Okay.
fact, the code has pretty specific provisions for vertical extensions.
That's what I thought, I just wanted to be,
But there are limits.
setback is all we're talking about.
6 feet in
We're
the
not-
R3
We're not
and
approving
R4.
going up, we're just approving a setback,
Correct.
going up higher on an existing setback
Oh.
that has to be reapproved, got it.
If they went higher, but indented 6 feet from the lot line, they wouldn't need a variance.
Correct.
Okay.
That
Correct.
wouldn't look very good.
No, that's-
Yeah, it's actually a very fair point, because we went back and forth on that of,
Yeah.
hey, do we just stay to the rules and go 6 up? And what we ended up was with it almost looked like a housing structure that a kid would build with like 2 blocks that were like hanging off in all
Looks like
different
Legos,
directions.
yeah.
And that was tough for us it just felt like it didn't do the house its justice for what it deserved to look like. And it also presented some cost challenges that may render the project not worth pursuing by doing that as well.
So you're using the original footprint then?
Yeah, exactly.
Is your foundation strong enough to carry the load of a second floor?
Original assessments from some contractors had said, yes, it was. It's been a full dugout basement, and it looks like it was poured thick,
Double check that.
for sure. Absolutely.
And maybe this is, it looks like when you, the 3 windows, they're now on the second story, looking out over the flat roof. Those 3 windows look a little haphazard and non-symmetrical maybe. Looks like you're gonna make those symmetrical in the new one. But then what's existing on the first floor of the porch, the wall of the existing bump out that goes out onto the porch, are you gonna remove that door, or is this just not got all the, it looks like there's 3 windows.
Yes.
This is where the door currently is, and there's 3 windows. Are you gonna change that back?
So
So- Or is that just not got all the detail?
Well, the thought on the second floor is exactly correct. The window on the second floor to the left is my daughter's bedroom window, and that would be covered up. She still has two exit. The other window on the far right is actually to the den right now, and that would become a door, likely an entrance room. And it would allow us to preserve the original floor plan of that den and not have to cannibalize it and make it look very strange. Window in there, or a closet. To your question on the first floor, we've gone through some different options down there, but we're limited a little bit. You can see some lattice on that northern area to the right of the sliding door.
Right.
That lattice is wrapped around where our HVAC unit is. So we're kind of limited in terms of building the deck out over that for airflow. We have considered, though, punching in 2 additional windows there over time to bring more light, and it might actually add a little more. But we'd likely leave the sliding door and existing windows on the first floor where they are.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see in that window. It's just a little bit of lattice wrapping around. The deck doesn't actually go back there.
So on this diagram here, it's the second to the last page. It looks like your second floor is coming out over the first floor a little bit, by like a foot or something?
Yes, we've entertained, right now, there's a flat roof on it that has about a foot to foot and a half overhang. We've thought about keeping that as a cantilever and bringing that up. That's, subject to kind of hiring architects and moving forward with the project, but that was one thought.
We typically don't get into design kinds of things. It just feels to me like it would look better if it were all flush, but I have very poor taste, as you can see. So. Was there any reason why it's not all flush, or just you needed the additional space?
I'd like to do it flush personally as well. I think one of the things as we look to modernize, we'd like to add a wall closet, as well as a 5-piece master bath, and really make it what a modern house would expect. And there are some challenges, I think, with the dimensions where that foot to foot and a half could really allow us to deliver a modernized footprint. If it could be done in such a manner where we could keep it flush, I think we'd be open to it. We haven't hired an architect, so these are kind of back of the napkin sketches so far that have alluded that extra foot and a half on the cantilever could be helpful.
Either way, that doesn't implicate the zoning code,
No.
does it, Rob?
No.
I'm just opining.
But satisfies Gary's
Yeah,
curiosity.
Everybody is an architect in Hinsdale, as you'll soon find out if you haven't found out already, so it's okay.
Any questions from Bob or Joe?
I've got
Nope,
one.
I'm good, not for me, thank you.
Okay.
I've got
Sorry,
a
not for me either, thank
quick
you.
question, if
Okay,
you don't
thanks.
mind.
Sure,
So
Leslie.
the first floor addition with the, like the north side where the 2 circular windows are, I've just pulled up the house on Google Maps, so
Sure.
I'm looking at a picture of it now. It looks like that north wall of the first floor addition sets back from what's in front of it. Is that correct? That's not what the plat denotes? The plat denotes that's just a single plane that goes all the way back. But it looks like when you get to the addition jogs in a little bit from the back corner of the original house. Is that right?
No, I'd have to look. I think it is,
The other
it should be
side.
pretty close unless it's a little bit of the trim that was adjusted. I do know there is a jog back if you look at the here. The original front of the house comes in and then it bumps outwards. I believe this is rather flush, within a
Okay.
couple inches flush.
Okay.
I can definitely validate that
I
though.
was just trying to determine if you're trying to cantilever on that side where the setback is an issue. Or are you trying to line up with the exterior wall that's below it?
The latter. We want
Okay.
it to be a true,
Okay.
just flush, plain, looks like that when they originally built that first floor, that the intention was to have the second floor just go straight.
Got it.
All right, any other questions? All right, so I see you've responded to all the standards for variation, so that's great. And so I would just be prepared to walk through those or just be prepared for questions. So that's what we will base the decision on, is how you've met the standards.
Great.
And getting neighbor support will also be.
And then, neighbor
critical.
support. And you've notified the group in your radius, and I assume we haven't yet heard any
Not yet.
other feedback.
That'll go out.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you haven't notified, okay. great.
Maybe a request for feedback from you when it comes to garnering neighboring support. Would it be sufficient, clearly the one to the north is highest priority, if we got just all the adjacent, essentially all the property owners that would be visually looking at it, is that a sufficient approach for the support, or what would you encourage me in terms of whom to engage?
I think it's helpful to have that, you know, the people who are most impacted. I
Sure.
think we definitely take that into consideration.
Great.
Um,
Okay, thank you very much.
Great, thanks.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you next month.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, no public hearings, no new business. Any new business?
No.
Shouldn't make assumptions.
I don't think
Any
so.
old business? Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
See you
Thank you,
next
Gamble.
month.
Once again, an excellent job.
Yeah,
Everybody.
thanks.